having a great day. So in this video, I'm going to be working on 2 new wreaths for the 4th of July. I want to hang one on our front door as well as on the back door. And I'm using items I picked up at Dollar Tree, Michael's, and Walmart. So that's what I'm sharing in this video. Let's get started. So here is a look at some of the items that I have picked up to decorate with for the 4th of July this year. I just kind of set them all out on the table to see what I had to work with and then went from there. So for the first wreath, I'm starting with a wreath form that I picked up at Walmart. It was under $5, and then this God Bless America truck sign, I picked it up at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start by hanging it in the center of the wreath, and I'm just going to use a piece of paddle wire to attach it to the wreath. And I knew I wanted to add some pretty faux florals to this particular wreath, and so I had picked up these flowers at Michael's. So I'm just going to use my wire cutters to cut the flower bouquets apart, and then I'll add them to my wreath. I had my flowers ready to use for my wreath, but I decided I might want to add in some more green elements to my wreath. So I had these wispy kind of textured faux florals on hand that I had picked up at Walmart. So I decided to take one of them apart and use it as well. I went ahead and chose to add a little bit of hot glue where I secured my sign to the wreath because the sign was shifting just a little bit. So I thought to help secure it just a little bit more, I would add some hot glue. And now I'm going to start adding in my faux florals. For this particular wreath, it will be in a protected area, so I don't have to worry about the wind blowing the flowers out or messing up the wreath. So I didn't really use any hot glue. I just tucked the flowers in the wreath form, what I thought looked good to me, what was appealing to my eye. If I was going to put this in an area where it would get a lot of wind and all of that, I would have definitely used hot glue to secure them in place. But I think this wreath is turning out really pretty, and I think it's going to be one of my favorites. I knew I wanted to add a fun bow to this wreath and use some of this ribbon that I picked up at Michael's. It was regularly $9.99. It was on sale for $5.99, which is still just a little bit pricey to me for ribbon, but I really liked the vintage truck print on this one. And to stretch it just a little bit further, because I didn't want to use the whole spool of ribbon on one bow, I'm just going to layer it with some other ribbons that were a little less expensive. So I'm going to layer it with a black and white buffalo plaid ribbon that I picked up at Christmas really inexpensively, and then a chevron or zigzag print that I picked up at Dollar Tree. And if you'd like to see how I layer my bows or how I make my bows, I do have a video on that, and I will link it in the description below. So basically for this particular style of bow, I just cut a bunch of single loops of ribbon and hold the loop in my hand, and then I just change the direction of the loops and the different ribbons as I go until I have the look and the fullness that I want for my bow. And then I'll just use a piece of paddle wire to secure it around the center where I'm holding all of the loops together, and that is what will hold it together to attach it to my wreath. And I'll just use some hot glue to attach it to my wreath. You could leave the wire in long and attach it that way, but I just chose to use hot glue for this particular wreath. And I did go back and cut all of the tail ends of each of the ribbons with the V-notch cut out just to dress it up a little bit further. For the second wreath, I'm using the same exact style of wreath form. It's a little bit different shape, but it came from the same place. So sometimes you just kind of have to look through them till you find one that you like. But like I said before, they are under $5 at Walmart. And this one is going to have an entirely different look to it. I am going to be using this star garland that I picked up at Dollar Tree last year, but I know they had it this year as well. And I'm just going to start by wrapping it around my wreath form and go from there. after I had the garland wrapped around the wreath form and back to where I started, I just cut off the excess with some wire cutters and then used the two ends of the wire to wrap them together just to secure them. And then I tucked the two ends back into the wreath. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I had purchased this really pretty 4th of July themed sign at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue that into the center of my wreath. So I really went with the star theme for this particular wreath. The sign says bold stripes, bright stars, brave hearts, and the stars are a glittery design, and then the sign also has a glitter around the border. And then I like the metallic sheen of the star garland, and then I also had a stars wall hanging or sign that I picked up at Dollar Tree that is red, white, and blue attached to some burlap ribbon. I'm going to remove the red star off of the ribbon and leave the white and the blue, and I'm going to attach the red star to one side of the sign and the white and the blue on the other, and I think that's going to be really pretty, and I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach them. The burlap ribbon that has the white and blue stars attached to it already has a V-notch cutout at the bottom of the ribbon, so I just matched that at the top and cut a little notch to finish that off. And sticking with the star theme, I'm going to be using this Dollar Tree scarf as my bow, and I'm just going to tie a simple single loop bow and leave the tail ends long, and I'm leaving one of the tail ends much longer than the other one to add some fun interest to the bow, and I'm just going to hot glue it in place on my wreath. To dress up my bow just a little bit further and add just a little more sparkle, I'm using this bow that I picked up at Dollar Tree last year and a little bit of hot glue to attach it in place, and this wreath is done, and I think it is so much fun for the 4th of July. And I had another wreath idea I just wanted to try out as well, so I decided to go ahead and include it in this video. And I just used a Dollar Tree wreath form, a Dollar Tree scarf that had the vintage truck theme, and wrapped it around the wreath form until I got to the end. And actually one wrapped around it just fine, and then when I got to the end, instead of gluing it in place, because I wasn't sure if I was going to leave it or not, so I didn't want to mess it up in case I changed my mind and just wanted to take it all apart, I just used a piece of a ribbon to tie the end in place. So I just used some buffalo plaid check ribbon and tied a simple bow to hold the ends onto the wreath form, and so I think it turned out really pretty, but I decided to go ahead and add to it anyway and attach some sunflowers. And I think this will be just kind of a fun little accent wreath for above my stove for the 4th of July. So to attach a hanger to the back of this wreath, I'm just snaking a piece of paddle wire behind the buffalo check ribbon, and then I'll twist the two ends together, and that's how I will hang up this wreath. And I actually like how this wreath turned out. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. It was one of them ideas that I had, but wasn't really sure what it was going to look like in the end. But I actually like how it turned out, and I did end up adding some sunflowers to dress it up a little bit further. I'm really happy with how these wreaths turned out. I'm looking forward to using them for the 4th of July holiday. And if you're new to my channel, I share a lot of budget-friendly DIY home and lifestyle content if you like that sort of thing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know. I'd really appreciate it. And I would love it if you hit subscribe and hung around. I hope you enjoyed this video and these wreath ideas, and thanks for watching.